Please, Mr Mountain.
Thank you very much, Presiding Officer. The ferries crisis is not merely a catastrophic failure. It is the biggest and most expensive scandal of this SNP government so far. Reports from the REC Committee and the Audit Scotland prove that. But huge questions remain. Why did the Scottish ministers go against the advice from their advisers and award a contract to Ferguson Marine? Where did the £45 million in loans that was given to Ferguson Marine by Derek Mackay go? And how can the £2,500 per day paid to Tim Hare be value for money? Is anyone going to take responsibility? Does any minister want to stand up and take responsibility? Obviously not, which is why we need a full public inquiry. Now let's look at the milestone payments made to Ferguson Marine, which saw the taxpayer hand over 84% of the contract value for 2 ferries in return for 1 rusting hull and some spare parts. Initially, there were 15 of these stage payments, but when things started to go wrong at the yard, the government increased them to 18, allowing the contractor to get more dosh earlier. Now, as a surveyor with 15 years of experience, I know that stage payments are agreed with a quantity surveyor needed to sign off each of them. It cannot possibly have happened here. Now, I've submitted freedom of information requests on each milestone payment. What checks were carried out on the hulls and who approved and signed off the payments? Simple enough questions. There should be a paper trail. Maybe it will turn up miraculously today, but that information should be easy to release. But this secretive government has delayed answers on every single one of my FOIs in relation to this. What are they hiding? Have they lost these papers as well? And then when checking the milestone payments, they certainly didn't listen to the skilled workforce in the yard. We know for a fact from the union rep, Alex Logan, that the workers knew of the faults, but were required to press ahead with construction based on flawed design. Did the Scottish Government ever ask them? They make such noises about it. But no, they didn't. They just dished out the dosh. Unapproved bulbous bows for 801, not fit for purpose mooring stations on 801, cables placed up the lift shafts in Ferry 801, all triggered payments. They even signed off the payment for launching the vessel, ignoring the fact that it had fake funnels connected to pretendy engines with painted-on windows. Now, this government went to pay all but one of the milestone payments on 801. Ridiculous, in my mind, when it's clear that it isn't even half built. Lessons weren't learnt when it came to 802 either. 13 of the 18 payments were made there, with little more than a keel being laid, which was evidence when the government took over control. How could this be allowed to happen? Why did the Scottish Government agree to 18 stage payments instead of the industry standard 5? Who signed that off? Perhaps the government knew at the outset there was a real problem with cash flow in Ferguson Marine. What other reasons are there for agreeing so many stage payments? I'm sure it's nothing to do with the fact that Jim McCall had a direct telephone contact with the First Minister, which is a matter of public record. Surely not. But there's no records of these telephone calls, so perhaps we'll never know. A shambles, no paperwork, no scrutiny, all of which has cost Scotland in excess of £300 million. Now, earlier this afternoon, the Cabinet Secretary for Finance asked what other contracts were available. It appears she doesn't even know what's going on in her own yard. At the time the contracts awarded, there was fish farm vessel Hull 805, Callister Helen, that was being built. There was another one called Helen Rice that was on the books. There were 3 vessels in total because there was a gas vessel and Petrosakai.
The member is just about to conclude his remarks because the member is over time. Please conclude, Mr Mountain.
Thank you. Presiding Officer, the full lid's to be lifted on this dismal affair. Our islanders desperately need these long-delayed ferries and they deserve answers. This is a shambolic, scandalously organised contract which really does need a public inquiry.